this will be the requirement, example of requirement for us to do the testability. So this will be three factors under the product revision. Okay, just now was product operation, this one is product revision. Then the third one, we have the product transition. So product transition is when we are dealing with the adaptation of the software. So remember just now we talked about the adaptation maintenance. So it means we are doing a transition of this software to work in a new environment, or to work with a new software, or to work with a new hardware. Okay, so we will do the transition. So when we set product transition factor, it means it's deal with the adaptation of the software on a new environment and how it can interact with other software system. So let's assume we have this software. All this while, the payment was handled in a cash. We have a software, but the payment all handled in a cash mode. So now we don't want cash anymore. So we are dealing with maybe online banking, credit card, or maybe e-wallet, all this. So it means how we are going to do the transition of this software to be able to communicate with other payment platforms, with other payment uh, site. So this is part of the adaptation. So under this product transition factors, we have three. The first one is the portability. So it means it deal with the adaptation of the software to work on other environment. So when we say other environment, it means which is dealing with the operating system, from one operating system to another operating system, to work from one hardware to another hardware, or it can be anything. Okay, so we want to know how is the portability level of this software. Can it able to work on multiple operating system, multiple environment, multiple hardware? So this is more to the portability. Can we able to do that? Okay, then the second one is reusability. So when we say that we are doing certain adaptation, certain transition, so the software must be able to reuse. So it means it deal with the use of the software modules or the source code. Okay, normally the usability means more to the source code. So how we actually able to reuse it in any other new project or in a currently being developed for us to do the transition. Okay, then the third one is the interoperability. So interoperability is how is the system able to communicate with other software, or with other user interface, or with other program. So like what I have mentioned just now, your software to work with other software. This is nothing about hardware. From one software, how it can actually pass the data to another software. So something like payment just now, right? So how the system able to communicate with the online banking, how it can communicate with the e-wallet, so it means how it can have the interoperability among the software system. So this will be the last uh, factors under the product transition factor. So in the conclusion, so we have the Mackel classic factor model just now, where we have the total of 11 factors. Okay, where the first five, from the correctness until the usability, is under the product operation factors. Okay, then number 6 until number 8, maintainability until testability, is the 3 under the product revision factors. And then the third one is the number 9, portability until the interoperability, which is under the product transition. So this is the Merkle classic factor model with the 11 factors. So this is what we use for this course. Okay, so if you see this Merkle classic factor model has the alternative factor models. It means they have like improved version. You know, from the classic, they bring up to improved version. So what happened here is there is two different improved version happen from the classic. Just to remind you, we use the classic model, this 11 under the three categories. So if you see the alternative factor model, they do some changes. What happened is, can you see for the first factor model here, the alternative factor model, they have removed the testability from the product revision factor, and then they have come up with additional two, which is verifiability and expandability under the product transition. So from the 11 factors, they have -1 and then they have +2. This is the first improvement happened. Then the second version of the alternative model, the same thing, they don't have the testability and they have the additional two from the first improved version, and they come up with another three, which is the safety, manageability, and survivability as part of the product transition factor. Okay, so it means from the 11 just now, the -1, which is 10, and then the +2, which is 12. From this 12, they add up another 3, which become 50. Okay, so this is actually showing how the changes happen from the Merkle classic factor model and to the first alternative improved version and the second. Okay, so here this is just for lecturing purpose, only focus on the classic factor model. That is what we will use. Okay, got it? Can understand? So don't get confused with the alternative version. This is just for lecturing purpose. So just focus on the classic factor model. We have the three categories and we have total of 11 factors. The software quality factors. Clear? Clear about the three categories and the total of 11 factors? All okay? It's just the same thing what you have discussed from 2163 before from software engineering. So just to recall back. Okay, so that is about the software quality factors. Okay, so these software quality factors is normally depend on two different side of requirements. So normally will be client's requirement. It means what the client wants, what the client expect to see. That is the client requirement. And another side is the developers. So it means developers also need to make sure certain quality factors, especially when it comes to development, or when it comes to design, when it comes to the testing. So normally there is some quality factors which we need to give importance. So normally developers will have their own requirements. So it means the reusability, about the portability, about the interoperability. So all this is actually not something coming from the client, but it will be more focused on the development side. So developers will have their additional requirement to make sure that the software is able to function, the software is able to be developed, or the software able to be maintained later, or it can be easily do certain changes. So developers will give importance on that. Okay, so software product always complies to this requirement. Doesn't matter if it's a client requirement or if it's a developer's requirement. So normally the quality factors will be measured by using the software quality matrix. So this is what I was saying about your chapter 11. We will be dealing with some calculation. So normally we want to see how is the software, or how is the numbers of errors in the software, how we able to do the maintenance of a software. So everything we can measure by using the software quality matrix. So we will measure on the quality level of each of them. Okay. So this is about the software quality assurance system. So normally when we say an organization will have software quality assurance system. Okay. So this software quality assurance system, it's a combination of a wide range of software quality assurance components. Okay, so later I will discuss the components. Okay, all where is actually work together. Okay, to make sure that we come up with a good software, we able to prevent the defect rate, the failure rate, and also we able to achieve the acceptable level of the software quality. So all these components, they actually being combined and they will work together so that our end product later will able to achieve the quality standard or the quality level. Okay, so these components, okay, or these classes, actually we have pre-project components, components of project life cycle activities assessment, component of infrastructure error prevention and improvement, components of software quality management, components of standardization, certification, and software quality assurance system assessment, and human components. Human is part of the software quality assurance system, because no matter how other components are there, if there is no human components, some things cannot be work. Okay, so let's see one by one each of these components. So the first one is the pre-project component. Actually they are just same. You can see the title is a bit different, but it's actually giving the same meaning. Okay, pre-project component, this is actually to make sure that uh, how we plan for the project. Okay, if we have done a proper planning for us to do the project, it means before the project will start, a pre-project. So we have to make sure that we have prepare a proper proposal, or a proper agreement, or proper project planning. Okay, so that we can make sure that the project is going to work well, the project can be done within the schedule, within the resources, within the budget. So we need to do a proper planning. So we need a pre-project component where we can ensure we have planned the project correctly, and we can actually improve the proper steps what we need for the project. So normally we can have like a contract review. So we have to make sure that, like normally we have proposal review, we have the contract review, so that we can make sure that our project proposal and what we have mentioned in the proposal can be agreed, can be developed, and it's going to be agreed by all the parties. Okay, then other than that, we also will have the development and also quality plans. So development planning means our project planning documentation, okay, and how we are going to plan for the project. And then we also have the quality plan to make sure that we did not uh, missed out any quality things which we need to include. Okay, so this will be part of the pre-project components. The second one is the project software project life cycle components. Okay, it's same thing like the previous one, component of the software project lifecycle. Okay, so when we said software project lifecycle component, it has two different stages. One is development lifecycle stage, one is the operation maintenance stage. So development means we are developing the software, and operation maintenance means after the development, the software is start being operated, and then there will be maintenance happen. So when we said development life cycle stage, it means how we able to do the correct requirement, the correct design, the correct development. So how we can able to handle all this process, and how we able to detect and fix any issues, any errors. What are the type of things we do? For example, how we do the testing, how we do the review, how we do the inspection. All this. Okay. Then when we said operation maintenance stage, this will be more on specialized maintenance component. So it means how we can improve the maintenance task. So it can be corrective maintenance, it can be adaptive maintenance, or it can be perfective maintenance. Okay, so this will be the second stage of the software. Okay, the third one is the infrastructure components for error prevention and improvement. So, error prevention means we try our level best to prevent the error from happening, but sometimes we can. So, when it's happened, how we able to fix them, how we can able to improve them. So, here this component is in charge to prevent the software fault or to lower the software fault rates. So sometimes we cannot avoid the fault from happen. We cannot avoid from the defect to happen. So we have the option how we can prevent or how we can bring them lower. So what are the ways we can do the improvement on the productivity? So normally we can have the procedures, the working instruction to be followed. Maybe we can have a proper templates or checklist for every staff to follow. Maybe we can have a training, we can have a certification. What are the prevention and corrective action we can do? And then configuration management, as what I have discussed in chapter 9. Configuration management is very important to avoid some mistakes, some fault from happen. And also we can include the documentation control. Okay, so this can be part of the component to prevent the error or to do the improvement on the error happen. Okay, the fourth one is the management software quality assurance component. So this is more on control the development and the maintenance activity. So this is like more to management side, where this is more on budget, more onto the resources, more onto the schedule. So how this component able to prevent or to minimize if there is any possibilities of schedule or budget failure from happening. Okay, so this is more to management, because whatever give effect on the schedule, on the budget, on the resources, of course it's going to be management issue. So this component is more to do the control of this development and maintenance activities to make sure there will be no failure happen from these areas. So this is more to support the managerial control of the software development project and also the maintenance service. So something like we include the project progress control, to include the maintenance contract, and then software quality metrics to do the measurement of the quality, and also software quality cost. So whatever about the timeline, about the budget, about the resource, it will be under the management here. Okay, then the fifth one is the software quality assurance standard, system certification, and assessment component. So this is more to implement standards. So it means we want to implement ISO standard, or we want to implement IEEE standard, or we want to include ISO IEC standard. So it means we want to implement international professional and managerial standard within the organization. So it means like software company, it means inside the software company. So this is actually with the aim that we can utilize the standard, okay, or the international professional knowledge into our working environment, into our documentation, into our development. So when we are following a certain standard, we can help in improving the coordination of the organization's quality system with the client or with another organization. Okay, so this is what we will discuss in chapter 12 later. And also, it can be helpful for the achievement of the quality system, how we can actually do the audit, how we can assess how the company quality system can be achieved. So normally we can include the quality management standard and also project process standard. So these two standards I will discuss in chapter 12 later. Okay, then the last component will be human component. So remember, just now I have explained component 1 until component 5. Without the human component, those components can be meaningless. So these human components are more to the human or the people who is involved in the software quality assurance organization or the system. So for example, like the managers or software quality assurance team, software quality assurance managers, or the testing team, whoever can be as part of the software quality assurance committee. Can be members, can be committee. So these are the human components here. So without this human component, the others might not be really effective. So these human components will be the one develop and also to implement the software quality assurance system in the office, in the organization, or in the daily work. So they are the one coming up with the software quality assurance component to be implemented. So these are the people who can actually do the changes in the software quality assurance procedures or methodologies to follow. So if there is any issues, these are the people can detect and can fix them. And also this human component will be the one able to bring the improvement to the software quality assurance component. So the 5 component just now, if we want to do any changes, this human component will be the one do that. So the combination of these 6 components is what we call as a software quality assurance system. So this will be needed in every organization to make sure that their work or their project or their product, their services can be done in a proper quality. Okay, so that will be the software quality assurance system. Okay, got it? About the 6 component, clear? Any question about the 6 components? It's just the same thing. In here, the component word is in the front, and on every slide, the component word is at the back, but it's actually the same thing. Can understand the pre-project components, the project life cycle or project development life cycle component, and then the infrastructure, error prevention and improvement component, software quality management component, and then the standardization, certification component, and the last one is the human component. Everyone okay with the 6 component? Got it? Okay, so the next thing is after the 6 component, okay, so the next thing is how we will decide on the software quality assurance system. So we can see who and what will decide, okay, for your company, for you to have the software quality assurance system. So normally it will be depending on the organizational consideration. So this is more onto the type of software development client you are dealing with, okay, or type of software maintenance client which you are dealing with, because sometimes you might develop the software, but you are not the one taking care of the software. Or sometimes you don't develop the software, but you are being in charge to maintain the software. So it's depend with what type of clients you are dealing with, what type of software you are dealing with, and then the range of product also need to be considered. If we want to use software quality assurance system, the size of the organization, how big is your company, how much employees you are dealing with in every department. So all this is can be part of the factors. And then the degree and the nature of the cooperation with other organization, so that is very important, how you are dealing project with other companies or other client. And then the optimization objective, so this is more onto your type of software and what is your objective of your companies in your product or in your service. So all these can be become a factors for how we will decide on choosing the software quality assurance system. Okay. Other than that, other than the organizational consideration, the next thing is the project and the maintenance service consideration. So it means the level of the software complexity and difficulties you are working on, because not every company they deal with a similar domain of software. Oh, so when you deal with a different domain, the complexity or the difficulties of the software is different. Okay, so among those complexity, okay, high complexity, low complexity, the type of staff you are having is also different. Okay, the degree of the staff experience, their knowledge, their skill with the project technology can be part of the factor. Okay, other than that, the extent of the software reuse in new project also can be a reason. So sometimes some companies they don't really prefer reuse, and some companies they really welcome to use reuse, you know, certain components, certain software into their new project. So what is the level of reusability in your company can be also be considered for us to choose software quality assurance system to be implemented or not. Okay, other than that, professional staff consideration. So professional staff here, when we said the human component just now, it is very important for us to have the right human who can able to handle the other five components. So the professional qualification of human or of the staff is very important for us to choose the software quality assurance. Do we have the right people, the right professional with the right qualification, with the right level to communicate or to handle the other team members for them to how to say, like to explain about this software quality assurance system, how to use this software quality assurance, how each of these component need to be implemented. So we need a right people to do that. So if we don't have the right professional qualification, we cannot, how to say, we cannot implement the balance five software quality assurance component successfully. So this can be the reason who and what to decide on the software quality assurance system. Okay, got it? Can understand? Clear? Am I too fast on the software quality assurance system? So it's just a combination of these six components to work together. So we call it as a software quality assurance system. And it's very important for us to make sure that throughout the software development life cycle, we have the right component which can help us to improve our end product later. So when a company want to use or want to implement this software quality assurance system, what are the factors or what are the consideration they need to consider for them to decide to have it? Okay, so that's it about the software quality assurance system. So the next part here is software quality assurance activities in software testing. This is not general. This is not general about software quality assurance activities, but software quality assurance activities inside software testing. So I'm not going to repeat about what is software testing and all this, but how we can have software quality assurance activities in software testing to make sure that our software testing can be achieved in a good quality. Can understand what it's mean by software quality assurance activities in software testing? So we have few numbers of software quality assurance activities which we can implement in software testing so that our software testing can be successful at the end. So the first one is plan the testing and the software quality assurance process. Okay, so as part of software quality assurance, we need to come up with a very well planned, defined, and documented of testing. So it means before we will start with our testing, we need to well plan it. We need to identify some things. We need to document it. So the first one is the quality management plan. So it means we come up with a quality management plan documents which can define all the acceptable level of product quality, and we need to clearly know how the project can achieve this quality level. So this is about the quality side. Other than that, what you are currently working for your assignment, which is a well planned and documented test plan and test cases. Got it? So test plan means the overall plan, the big picture of how you are going to conduct the test. So it means what you are going to test, when you want to test, how you want to test, who will be part of the testing. This is the overall planning of the testing. Then we have the test cases, which is go to the detailed action or detailed set of action what we need to perform or what we need to do for us to test each of the test item. So like for your assignment, I have been reviewing the test case for this week. Okay, so it's something like this is the test item. You want to test this item, then these are the action or these are the step of action which you need to do. So this is test cases. So before we will conduct the testing, we need to come up with a proper plan for the testing and also the software quality assurance process. So plan itself is not sufficient. So we need to document the plan. Okay, that is the first activity. The second activity is implement test-oriented management. So it means we give importance to the testing. So we implement the methodology or the managing way which is give importance on testing. So one of the methodology is the extreme programming. So extreme programming software development methodology, it is something give importance on testing and also to give importance on the quality of the software through the testing. So the aim here, the aim of using extreme programming is we want to produce higher quality software with the ability to adapt to any changing of requirements. Okay, so the first method from the extreme programming is test driven development. Okay, I'm not sure if you have heard that before. So test driven development is where we are giving importance on testing. So we use test first approach. Okay, how we do that? Okay, it means we will write the test case before we will implement the source code. Does it make sense? We will write the test case, we will execute the test case before we have the implementation of the code. What will be the result? We don't have the source code, we don't have the implementation of the code yet, but we do the testing. What will be the result? Will it pass? Will the test case pass? No, it will be failed. So if you see here, we know that this is the requirement. Okay, we have this feature, this requirement. So what we do is we will start the new features or new requirement by writing the test case. So it means we will automate the test case before we have the full implementation code to do the features or to do the function. Okay, so when we have this test case, we execute the test case. This test case will be initially failed. Got it? It will be failed. So now, what is your focus? How you want to make sure this test case will be passed. So now you need to write the source code focusing on the functionality to make sure that the second time you execute the test case, it must be passed. So it means whatever the test case being executed initially will be failed. Now your aim is you are going to come up with a source code to make sure that this test case will pass. So after these steps will be completed, you are going to re-execute the test case and then the test must be passed. So that what it mean by test first approach. Got it? This is the first method using extreme programming. The second one is using pair programming. I think we have discussed this in our static testing. Okay, so pair programming where two developers will be sharing a single computer to do the writing of code. So one of the developer will write the code and another one will be reviewing the code. So these two roles, we call them as a driver and navigator. Driver means the one going to write the code. Navigator will be the one reviewing or checking the code. Okay, and then how they can suggest to make improvement on the code. So these roles can be swapped. So if you still remember, when we discuss our static testing, we always start with the self-checking or desk checking. So it means programmer check their own code. But what happened? It might not be really effective for you to check your own code and for you to identify the mistake. So that's why it is better to have a pair programming where when you do the code, another person will help to check the code. So this with the aim to produce a better quality of software, and we can reduce the debugging cost or the refactoring of the cost of the project. Okay, so it means whatever we can identify, we can improve in an early stage, it will be always lower cost than we have come up with the complex system. We do the testing, we need to do the debugging, we need to change the source code. This will be more bigger cost. So that's why pair programming can helpful in bring higher quality software. So this is the second activity by implementing of the test-oriented management using the extreme programming, which is giving the test-driven development, okay, and then which is giving the pair programming. So this is the second activity. The third activity is ensure suitable work environment for software quality assurance team or for the testing team. Okay, because testing team can be part of the software quality assurance also. Okay, so to ensure suitable work environment here means it is very important to make sure that SQA team is part of the project from the beginning so that they can start testing from the beginning. So, for example, we want to implement software quality assurance in the process from the beginning of the software development lifecycle. So, it means like how they can start to do the verification from the beginning, how they can do the any planning for the testing from the beginning. So it is very important to bring the software quality assurance team or the testing team from the beginning of the project, not after they have done with the development, then only bring the software quality assurance or the testing team later. So it is very important for them to be aware of the project from the beginning, for them to plan for the testing and to start the testing from the early stage. Okay, then the second is respect the testers by building the trusting relationship. So this is very important. How well is the relationship or the communication between the testing team or the quality assurance team and the development team? Okay, I think we have always said that these two, they are like anti to each other, they are enemy to each other. Okay, because developers do their best to come up with the code, and then testing team waiting to find the defect. So they have always have a conflict. But actually the communication, the relationship between development team and the testing team is very important for them to understand each other's work. They're able to trust the work, and also it can be helpful to avoid any misunderstanding in the work. So the good relationship communication between the development team, between the SQA team or the testing team is very important. Okay, then another one is to give business training to the testing team or to the SQA team for them to expand their knowledge and to improve the work. So it means it is very important for them to be part of the project from the beginning. So they need to also have knowledge about the business areas or the requirement areas for them to understand some things which can be helpful for them to improve the testing later. Okay, so this will be the third activity to ensure suitable work environment for the software quality assurance team. Then the fourth one is optimize the use of automated tests. So this software quality assurance activity also is important to be in software testing. So all this while we have been using manual tests. So now we want to use automate tests. So this can be helpful in improve the quality of the software than comparing to use the manual. Okay, where the automation testing tool can be very useful in do the automation testing, especially when we are working on regression testing. Every time when there is changes happen, you need to rerun or you need to repeat some testing again and again, right? So when we have a automation testing, okay, automation testing tool to run the test, it will be very helpful. So this can also improve the quality of the software, especially if you see agile methodology, because they are welcoming the changes of requirement. They do their development in a very short period. So their test release is a very short period. So this can actually be helpful when they use the test automation for their rapid test release. Okay, and also it is wise recommendation to deploy automated testing throughout the software quality assurance process. Okay, that is the fourth activity. The fifth activity is employ code quality measurement. So it is very important for us to do the quality measurement. Okay, we need to know what we are measuring. So the quality objective should be able to measure. So if you see, we always have this term of qualitative measurement, quantitative measurement. Have you heard that before? Qualitative and quantitative. What is the difference? I think you have used that in research method, in your literature review. We have this qualitative and quantitative. Am I right? Any idea? What are they? No idea. Okay, normally when we say qualitative measurement. Okay, when we say qualitative measurement, it means you don't have any data. You are just assuming by yourself. Qualitative. There is no data. You don't have any data. You don't have any input. You cannot get accurate output. Qualitative means based on our assumption. We assume that, assumption. That is qualitative. But when we say qualitative measurement, we cannot simply assume that it is a good product. We cannot assume that there is no defect. We cannot do that. So we need to have quantitative measurement. So we need to make sure that every quality able to be measured, able to be documented, able to be reviewed, and whenever we need to check something back, we able to track. Okay, so this is part of your software quality metrics. Okay, so the best advice will be we choose the suitable metrics to do the measurement. Okay, so this consortium of IT software quality, they have come up with four important software quality. Remember reliability just now? So it means uh, the availability of the system, how the system able to handle the software failures. Okay, maybe software or hardware failure. Okay, how the software can be have a very minimal downtime, able to provide the service as how it is required. So how we can actually measure the reliability. Okay, then performance efficiency. Okay, performance efficiency means how is the performance of the system to give the respond based on user request. How long is the response time? How is the efficiency means the resource limit which is being used? How is the customer satisfaction on the software performance? Then security. Security means how well the software is being secured and how it can able to protect the information, how it can actually protect from any unauthorization attack. Okay, then maintainability, it means how easy the software to be maintained in the future. So it means how easy we can do corrective maintenance, adaptive maintenance, or perfective maintenance. So it means how we able to modify the design, modify the source code for doing any type of maintenance. Okay, so this is the four factors or the four software quality given. Okay. So if you see, the model actually has been expanded to include the assessment how we can measure the quality. So the rate of delivery, it means how often we have the product delivery happen, because nowadays it is not like traditional way where 6 months, 1 year, we spend on one whole software, and then we do one time of delivery. Things are not like that anymore, especially if you see agile. What happened? Every 2 weeks they need to deliver out something to their client. So it means when there is high rates of delivery happen, it can actually give a better quality for the software, sorry, better quality of software to the customer. Instead of you wait for 6 months and then only you deliver one whole software, and then after that maybe another few months, then you do some changes. So it means when there is a big gap happen in the rate of delivery, it means we are not improving the quality of the software. Okay, then we have the second one, which is the testability. So it means the quality of the software requires for the high degree of testability. So it means the high testability means easy to do the testing, easy to find the defects, and how it can actually easily detecting any defect, any errors to be fixed later. Then we have the product usability. So this is more to the UI. So the usability of product, where a good user interface. How good is that for the user to learn the software easily and to use the software? So if you see how we can actually measure the software quality. Okay, hope you can see. So we have the software quality indicators. Sorry. And then we have the test metrics. So if you see the reliability, we can actually measure based on number of failures happen in maybe one calendar time, or maybe in 1 year of service, or 6 months of service, how many times of failure happen. That can indicate how is the reliability of the software. Is it having a good reliability level or not? So when we said we want to measure the performance efficiency, we can measure through the load testing, stress testing, and also the performance testing to know the response time. So that can actually indicate our system performance level. So when we want to measure the security, we actually can measure through the time to fix the failure and through the number of error messages happen whenever there is any unauthorization access, or when someone try to attack the system. So that can indicate the security level. So when we said we want to measure the maintainability, we can measure through the lines of code. You know what is line of code, right? Our programming code, the lines of code. That can indicate the size and how we can do the maintenance. Then the rate of delivery. It means how many times we are delivering the software. This can be measured based on the number of stories or numbers of requirement based on the log. Okay. Then we have testability, where we can measure from the number of technologies needed to test, or based on the quality of the documentation. Then for us to measure the usability, we can measure through the completion rate. It means when software being used by the staff or by the user for the first time, we want to know how many tasks they able to complete. So we measure to the completion rate and also the satisfaction level of the user on the system usability. So if you see all this software quality, we cannot just assume that they are in good condition, they are in good quality. So we need to have a proper test matrix. It means we need to use a quantitative way, where we need to have a proper data. We use the data to do the calculation on this software quality. So that's why I said we are not using assumption, but we need the data for us to do the measuring of the software quality so that we know the software quality is in good quality, or if it's not, what we need to do to improve it. So this is the fifth software quality assurance activities can be included in the software testing. And we have the last one, which is the report bugs effectively. So chapter 9, we have discussed about defect reporting. So something same what with bugs reporting or defect reporting. Okay, so it is very important for us to have an effective defect reporting or bugs reporting, because remember, this defect reporting is a communication between the development team and the testing team. So when you as a tester, you do the testing, you identify the defect or you identify the bug, you need to describe it to the development team. Okay, so it is very important to have a good defect report, a good bug report, okay, which can help to make sure that our software testing is more efficient, because this is the proof what you have done, what you have identified. Now you have reported to the development team. The development team need to do the fixing. So through a good defect report or bug report, it can be very helpful in clearly identify the problem in the software, because the development team, when they do the testing, they did not identify this issue. So when you identify this the issue during your testing, then you need to clearly inform them, describe to them, so that they able to understand what they need to do. And then it is also be helpful to navigate the actually the software engineers or the development team towards solving the bug or to solve the defect happen. Okay, so when you are not producing a good bug report or defect report, it can cause negative impact. So it can cause a serious misunderstanding where you are not clearly mentioned what defect you have identified, how is the seriousness level of the defect, how fast they need to do the fixing, what is the priority level. If you are not clearly mentioning all this, there will be a misunderstanding, a miscommunication happen between the testing team and the development team. So it is very important to have effective defect report or bug report. So this will be the last activity or last software quality assurance activity in software testing. So if we implement these six, actually there are more, but these six main SQA activities, it can be very helpful in our software testing, and we can successfully completed our software testing. So that's it for our chapter 10. Is your head still pain? Okay. Any question? Yeah, me too. Okay. The last three chapters is kind of boring chapter. Let me be sincere. That's it. It is a very, very boring. Okay. Don't take too much coffee, then cannot sleep. Okay. So the last three chapters, it's going to come up in final exam. I think I have mentioned to you, right? 50% of the mark will be coming from these three chapters. So you have no choice, no matter how boring it is. Report submission, you mean assignment, Jasper? Yeah. What is it? I have actually created the assignment submission, right? So I have actually created per tutorial group start from group 1 until group 8 together with RSD. What do you mean 2 PDF submission? Jasper, why 2 PDF? No, the originality report, right? That one, when you do the plagiarism checking, if the whole file is too big, I ask to divide into two portions. Okay, so are you asking about submitting the originality report and the assignment report in a zip folder? Is that what you mean? Oh, that one is up to you. You want to zip the folders, I mean, you want to zip the two file and upload also can, because you have the selection to put multiple file also can. No problem. Okay, regarding Miss Marina, right? Miss Marina side, because I got to know that Miss Marina has created the separate assignment submission for group 4, 5, 6. Am I right? So actually, I asked the program rep to inform to Miss Marina that all the submission will be submitted in this main Google Classroom. Then she can actually, because she is part of this Google Classroom as a teacher, so she can download the folder from here for her marking, because I need this Google Classroom for our audit in the future. So all the submission need to be done in here. So actually the program that suppose should inform Miss Marina, and also for the group under Miss Yasota, group 7, 8 and RSD, please also inform Miss Yasota the submission will be done here and she can download from here. So these two tutors, they are actually in this Google Classroom also. Okay, thank you. Yes. You want to ask about assignment? Yes. Is representative value compulsory when doing equivalence partitioning? Yes, we need to have one representative value for each of the valid equivalent classes and invalid equivalent classes. Wow. Hey, wait. You copy paste something so long. Wait, okay. Because I'm doing a test case for price range and I'm using equivalent partitioning as a technique. Like, let's say equivalent class is 1,000 to 2,000. Then do we need to write the representative value? Yes. It will be one representative value from the 1,001 until the 2,000 within that minimum and the maximum range. It's okay because this is for our test purpose, right? For our test case preparation purpose, we want to know the number of test cases, right? So we will decide the representative value. And also for your test case preparation, right? You as a test case designer, you will give the data. So the person who will execute the test case will actually follow what data you give for them to do the testing. So they want to see if it's a pass test case or fail test case. Because if you don't give the value, the tester can simply give any value, which might be out of the range. Do you get? So it is very important for you to give the representative value. One representative value. No. This is the range. So you need to give one representative value. For example, maybe 1,550, for example. So that is one representative value as long it is fulfilled the given range here. So let's assume from your equivalent partitioning, you need to come up with your boundary value analysis, right? So when you come up with a boundary value analysis, you have 4 valid data. It means the minimum, and then minimum plus 1, maximum minus 1, and the maximum. So it's depend with how you come up with the test case. So from your boundary value analysis, you suppose should have 4 valid data. It means 4 positive test case and then 2 negative test case. But remember, I have limit the test case only 5 per 2 function. So you can choose which one you want. But the data must come from the test case designer, which is you. So the person who will execute your test case must follow the data which you give. They cannot simply choose any data they want. So if like that means we cannot fulfill the test coverage. Clear? Can understand? Wait. Because my data is ask the user to put a price range of 1,000 to 2,000. Yeah, I understood that. But you need to give, let's assume you are the one designing this test case, right? So within this range, you give one value. You need to give that data. So if you let the person who execute the test case, they might wrongly put 2,500 in case, in case. If they have a mistake, they done a mistake. So it means the past test case will be turned as a failed test case. But there is no defect actually. But the tester did not put the correct range of data. So that's why when you design the test case, you need to put the data. So the tester who will execute will follow that. That's why in our test environment setup, right? Part of the test environment setup, we have this test data because we are assigning the data. Got it? Clear? Before I go to the next question, okay. Assume the tester want to find. Yeah, so that will be the data. So since this is our assignment purpose, right? I have limit the test case number. If no means you can have more test case with varieties of range of data. But here you just choose one, it's sufficient. So it depends with how you are coming up with your 5 test cases. But you as the test case designer, you need to put the data. Okay, can I? What do you mean roughly understand? So not fully understand yet, is it? Okay. So the next question I would like to ask, because for test sign up positive test case, the email address cannot be registered. But for sign up negative test case, using valid first name, invalid surname, it doesn't need the email to be tested data. Is it no need to include email address as a precondition in negative test case? Okay, if you see positive test case, you have uh how to say the precondition, right? So when you said you want to do this sign up function, you have to make sure that the unique email must not be registered yet. So you use the Gmail or any email, and then you will successfully do the sign up registration. Okay, sign up function. So when it comes to negative test case, our precondition will be still the same. We cannot put invalid precondition. So the email address is part of the precondition for this sign up operation. But what happened now is when you give invalid data, what will happen? So let's assume in here, if you are using invalid username, it will actually not going to detect on the email as the invalid. So what I will advise you is you can choose what is the unique data which it can check for the negative test case. So here, if it's your email will be what will be needed to be checked. So you can do the negative test case by using invalid email address instead of invalid surname. So it means when you give this all valid data, you will get the positive test case. So now, if you test the same sign up function by using the email which is already registered, what will happen? So instead of using the surname as invalid, you use the email as invalid. Do you get? So you have two test case here. One is the positive test case to test the success of the sign up. And then you have one negative test case to test if the registered email has been used as the invalid and to see what happened. But the precondition for the positive test case and the negative test case will be still the same. But when the user mistakenly used the registered email, we want to see what happened. So we cannot say the precondition user must have invalid email address or must have already registered email address. We cannot put something like that. So the same thing goes when you say login. Okay, what is the precondition for the login function? User must already registered and have a valid account. So if I want to test a negative test case, I want to see if the username given is wrong. I cannot say the precondition must be user have not registered. User must have a valid, user must have invalid username or must have invalid password. I cannot change the precondition. So the same function, the precondition will be same for the positive and negative. But it's just that the data which you use to test will be valid data or will be invalid. Because here we don't expect user to give the invalid data. But if by mistake they give the invalid data, how the system react to that? So do you understand about the precondition for the positive test case and the negative test case? Both of the test case will have the same precondition. Okay, but sign up only have two test case. If use positive test case and unique email, not enough three test case. Anything else which is being checked other than email? So let's assume you have one positive test case and then you put one invalid email. So that is your second test case, which is the negative test case. Do you have anything else to check? How about phone number? Can the phone number be registered? Can the username be registered? Because just now you say the surname, right? Username. Can two users, similar username being used? So when you check, you need to check something which can be detected as the error. So it means can use same username, but cannot use same surname. Is it like that? Because you say you want to check the surname, right? Is the surname need to be unique? Wait, I'm still checking one question. The question is jumping on the. Okay, is check have a symbol? Oh, it's nothing about duplication of the surname, is it? So you are using the same surname by using a symbol. Then you want to see what happened. Is it? So in that case, it can be detected as an error or not? Okay. Okay, so it means you can have three test case here. One is the positive test case, one is the negative test case using the email, and then one is the negative test case using the invalid surname. So you can have three test case. So all these three test case, the precondition must be the same. Why the precondition will not be same? Sorry, maybe I don't understand. Why the precondition will not be the same? What is the precondition for the sign up here? Okay, because it's like a step by step, is it? But if you see, our precondition will be still the same for the sign up function. What should be the precondition? But since it's already being blocked at the surname, it cannot proceed. But that doesn't mean the precondition will not be the same, because precondition is for the overall sign up function, not for the which level you are testing. So if your sign up have a precondition, then all the positive test case and negative test case must have the same precondition. Doesn't matter either it's passing the first name surname or not, if it's reaching the email or not, the precondition must be the same. If you don't want to have a precondition, all the sign up test case will not have the precondition. Got it? Because it is just blocked at the surname, and if it's success, then it can pass to the email. That's the difference. But the sign up function is still the same. So the precondition for the sign up also will be the same. Okay, others, if you have no question, you can leave the session. Sorry. So thank you very much, guys. I will see you tomorrow morning. Okay, I saw another one more question. If phone number and email both cannot be seen, separated as two invalid or combine them, because each of these is actually unique thing to be separately checked. Am I right? So you can separate them into two different invalid. Okay, the phone number and email can be separated. Okay, have I answered? Okay, anyone else? Any question? Uh, Wait, let me see the question